Horror movie fans come from all different walks and talks of life, but the sad reality behind it all is that most fans that gravitate towards scary movies or genre pictures often come from broken homes. Some of us need the escapism more than others. But what happens when horror fiction touches on real-life issues? The movie we are discussing today provides one of the realest fears a human can have, the loss of a child. After all, this movie is an adaptation of a Stephen King book. His horror has no limits, and I love it. Directed by Mary Lambert and released in 1989, Pet Sematary still remains one of the most emotionally driven scary movies to ever hit the silver screen, preying on the base fears of every family and throwing them right in your face. The domestic trepidation portrayed through strong acting hit home for people even outside of the horror world. The success of Pet Sematary led to a sequel, and it even saw itself to live on long enough to die on the remake guillotine in 2019. Sometimes dead is better. So, grab your shovel and don't look down, because we're going to dig up and give you our take on Pet Sematary. Boom! Welcome to the Sloppy Horror Podcast. I am your host and your scary movie companion, Christian Ramey, and back again for another week clapping them cheeks, the best producer in the whole wide world, Mr. Ozark Mark. Ozark, how you living today, buddy?
Hello, all you sexy sons of bitches. I'm here.
Guess what, Mark? We got 2 weeks till October?
Is it 2 weeks till October?
It's something like that,
I
right?
don't know. I'm dumb. I'm gonna have to look at a calendar.
I think it's the 17th today.
As you get older, days do not matter.
They don't, man.
Yes. October 1st is not this Friday. Wait, no. It's like 2 weeks away. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just say it's 2 weeks away.
We'll say it's a fortnight away, and we have October here. And as we've talked about, we're very excited to knock out some of these pillars, and this movie is one that I've been waiting to save till we got closer to this time of year, and that's Stephen King's Pet Sematary, 1989. Well, we're not talking about his book, but we are talking about Mary Lambert's adaptation, the movie. It's a great flick, man. This movie fucks with people bad. A kid dies in it. Anytime you have a kid die in a movie, that's a major punch right in your dick, and that's where this movie leaves you. How do you like a movie where a kid dies in it? Well, we're going to explain. We're going to break it all down, because usually I'm not built for that kind of stuff, Mark. I usually watch things that aren't serious for a reason. But for somehow, not only does it has very serious tones in this movie, obviously a loss of a child, but I laugh in this movie too. I don't know if I'm supposed to, but this movie is full of goddamn humor. You got an evil cat. You've got a funny neighbor played by Fred Gwynne. It's a lot of fun. Mark, I guess we should give a synopsis a little bit. We do start with those, right?
Yes. Yeah. Why don't you begin the synopsis for anybody who is listening who lives under a rock and has never seen Pet Sematary? And I mean that in a good way, because how have you not?
Yeah,
how have you not?
Yeah, also, too, I mean, if you haven't seen as many movies as we have, especially me, it's like, good for you for having a life, but, you know, good for you. Good for you. But this is a classic story, man. What makes this separate is, like, say, you know, Michael Myers. Like, not saying that couldn't happen, dude, but it's like your brain easily separates this from not being a normal event. The things that kind of lay down in this movie, not only it shows parents dealing with loss and grief, it tackles some serious things. So what we have is the Creed family. So we have Lewis and Rachel Creed. They are married, and they have a son and a daughter. Daughter Ellie, the son is Gage. They get into a new house. They move into a new house. It's on a busy road. This road, there's all kinds of fucking big trucks. Everybody's flying by on this road. They get the warning about this road from their nice old neighbor when they move in. This guy's name is Judd Crandall, and he's played by the late great Fred Gwynne. He's amazing, and what a voice, first off, Mark.
That man is a national treasure.
Yes, he was. Herman Munster.
I love the fact that two people banged and made this human being. I'm so grateful for this. This movie is, I guess I'm going to try and get in with some hip lingo here with the kids these days and shit, but this is I would classify this movie to me as a toxic movie to me. And I'll tell you why. Because there are movies that I watch that after I watch them, characters stick in my head and I start talking like them for weeks. I can already tell you it annoys my wife because it's so, after watching this movie, it's so easy to talk like crud while you're driving. Oh, a lot of danger on that road.
You called him crud. You mixed his name. You called him crud.
What do I call him?
Crud.
What is it?
His name's not Crud. It's Judd. Talk like crud.
Crud's a funny word. Judd.
Hey,
Right,
well, his
like
name's Judd Crandall, so I was like, you kind of mixed it together. I was like, that's kind of cool.
I mean, look, man. All right, it's late. All right.
It is.
It's been a long day, but I'm here.
It's Friday. That's the excuse.
Yeah. But, you know, a lot of danger on that road. Like, go down any road.
I wasn't
especially
ready
when,
for that.
Especially when you're... Look, if you're driving and you see somebody walking down the road, it's so easy to go, a lot of danger on this road. Should be careful.
It's right down that road.
Don't let them go on the road.
Oh, that was fun, wasn't it? You rolled him in the wagon.
Oh,
He liked that a bunch that day.
dude, that line has been stuck in my head ever since like early high school when we watched this movie. Is it pushing him in the wagon? Bet he liked that, didn't they?
I'm gonna sit here and have a smoke.
Some things you gotta do on your own. I'm gonna sit over here and have a smoke.
Folks, this happened to us with Gregory Peck and the Omen. There's a couple people. So
Yeah, I'm sorry. So
no, don't be. It's a lot of fun. So you guys are gonna enjoy this neighbor like the Creed family did when they met Judd Crandall.
Yeah.
They met him. He's this fun old neighbor who's by himself. And obviously what happens is Rachel, her parents live out of town, so she's been traveling back and forth, kind of seeing her parents with the kids. Not a great relationship with Lewis, so Lewis stays back at home. Ellie, his daughter, their daughter, has a cat. She loves this cat. Obviously, she's like, 7, 8 years old, her daughter? Maybe 10.
I don't know, man.
So she's a little kid, all
Yeah,
right?
she's a little kid and she watches cartoons.
Yeah, so she loves her cat. Well, you guys can see the foreshadowing going on with the busy road. Cat ventures into the road while Rachel and the kids are out of town. Judd calls Lewis and says, there's a dead cat over here. I think it's your daughter. So he goes over there, he gets the cat, and he doesn't know what to do. He's bummed out. He's like, well, shit, man. They're going to come back, and I got to tell her the cat's dead. This is horrible. And you don't even have to be a dad to know that feeling, but, dude, that, like, feeling of just, like, fuck, man, like...
Yeah.
You're like, am I going to go to the pound? You're going to pull like a meet the parents? Am I going to go buy a fake cat and like try to swap? That's what I would have did. I would have swapped the fucker out because I would have just said, I don't know, baby. Sometimes cats shed and they change their skin and this is the new him now. Mm-hmm. I would have came with some way to spin it.
Yeah.
So Judd tells Lewis, he sees Lewis all
smoke in his hands, staring off in the distance. Maybe there's another way.
Maybe there's another way. He feels for Lewis. He sees his pain as a dad, and he feels for Ellie because he gets to like their family. So he tells Judd he knows a place, or he doesn't really tell him shit. He just says, grab the cat and kind of come with me. And they go on an adventure through the woods to the pet cemetery.
Dude, you know what cracks me up about that is he's just... Judd just keeps saying, not much further now.
You keep saying that.
Well, this time I made it.
Micmac Indians.
He just keeps saying it.
What? Tell me, that was my favorite thing he says.
What is it?
This belonged to the Micmac Indians. Micmac. Why did they love that?
I don't know.
Them old white dudes love Indians. They do. They really fuck with Indians. And I don't know if Indians fuck with them really.
No.
Because like when you watch the John Wayne pictures, it's like, I mean, I love those old cowboy pictures, but it would be like a dude fighting an Indian. He'd, hold on there, sir. Please don't come onto our land. And you're like, I'm not all the way sure that's how the Micmac Indian guy talked, but... And I also don't feel like that guy's Indian. Like those old 50s, 60s pictures and shit, they were like, it was totally like somebody that's just like, you're tan, we're going to put a feather on your head, and we're going to have you talk really white, and people think that's an Indian. I don't think that's how it works, man. But you could just saw like how pumped Fred Gwynn was to play, it's the Micmac Indians. Mm-hmm. But it is really creepy. So he takes Lewis to this fucking Indian burial ground to bury the cat. Buries the cat comes back to life. but not quite the same. He fucking stinks and he's mean and he's, which honestly, he's a normal cat is what he is. He gets back from, like, he's a friendly cat and he just kind of turns into like a normal asshole cat. Like,
yeah.
Any cat, because there's a scene where he picks him up and he's like, what the hell's going on with this cat? And he picks him up and then the cat claws him in the face. And I'm like, that's not a dead giveaway. He's possessed. You could do that with your own cat. He might scratch you.
That happened, yeah. Absolutely. That's happened to me before. I got cats, man.
They get in one of them moods, dude. Or you walk past them and they're just like, dude, you're like, you little fucker.
There's one when if you have a cat, if your cat has ever got the zooms, and when it's just randomly just running in, like running in full speed, jumping off of no navigation in this cat whatsoever, they will jump. One jumped on my face and straight clawed the fuck out of my face. Like, that's normal. So.
There are so many cat videos online like that. Did you see that dude? Like, he was like a grown-ass man opening up. It was like an Xbox or something for Christmas. He's like, oh, and he like picked it up and his cat just fucking mauls him. He's like, it's funny though, because he for real goes down. He's like, like he was all fucked up. He like was all bleeding and stuff.
Oh, so, God bless the internet. So, all right, so
he's a normal cat, but you realize he's possessed.
Yes.
Well, you think that's the end of the bad story, but that's not what happens. That's not all. So They're having a little picnic with their neighbor, Judd, and Gage wanders out into the road and unfortunately gets hit by a truck and he fucking dies. That's right, they have a kid die in the fucking movie.
I don't think you even need to say dies. You could say just hit by a truck.
Yeah,
I think you get the idea. But you know what's funny? Look, I laughed at that part. Now, you can call me a psycho. now listen, though, okay? I laughed when it happened. Now, I'm not supposed to because I feel the suspense. Like, the kid's about to get run over. Like, you feel the suspense no matter you are. But I don't know if you noticed this, okay? But I had headphones on. I was watching this. And when he gets hit, they play the most mediocre squish sound. I don't know if you noticed that. No, it's just like the
like you just squash like a brown paper bag lunch under a tire. Just
I was like, they did not put that sound in there. Oh my God! If you haven't noticed it before, I encourage you to turn it up, focus on that, and wait for that sound, and you'll probably laugh at a child getting run over by a semi-truck, and then you'll be considered a psycho like myself.
Yeah, and what's that kid? Michael Hughes, I think that kid's name is. First off, these kids are like the cutest fucking kids in the world. So let me back to the synopsis really quick. So his kid dies. Obviously, Lewis now has the knowledge of an Indian burial ground that could bring bodies back to life. Judd knows what he's up to, and he's like, dude, don't do it. Don't do it. He does. He brings Gage back. Gage comes back. He's not the same. Shit doesn't end well. So that's the synopsis in a nutshell. But seriously, these fucking kids are like the cutest fucking kids ever. And that really fucks with people. This isn't a monster that comes for you in your sleep or while you're at camp boning people. This is your kid fucking died, and if you have a chance to bring him back, would you do it? Like, dude, I think there's a lot of people that fucking would. And then I will also say the remake was not as great, but they did a switch in the remake where they switched it and made it his daughter who died.
Yeah.
Which I was not expecting because I'm like, okay, this part, Gage is about to die. And they switched it, so it threw me off, and it really kind of like... It had me vested in there because I was like, all right, like an invested. I was like, okay, let's do this.
I didn't mind the remake too much. It was a nice little adaptation of it. They switched a couple things up, but they stick to the general story. Mm-hmm. But, it doesn't compare to the original just because of the characters.
It doesn't. I'll tell you the one thing that it did. The only reason why it did, though, like, it's like that dad-daughter connection. Like, cause my son, if he came back from the dead and on that bullshit, I'm a fucking tombstone pile drive his ass. Cause that's my son. He's not gonna beat me in anything until I'm old. All right, that's my son. Say it with your chest, son. And I'll punch him. That's what I would do, because he's my boy. You know what I mean? He's your boy. It's a different level of like... But if your daughter came back from the dead, she'd be like, I want Chick-fil-A, and my phone needs an update, and I'm just so tired. And you're like, ah! And it would be fucking terrifying. That's what would happen, dude. And also, it was interesting because it was her cat as well. So I was like... I don't know. I like that. But back to the original. That plays on your biggest fears. And then there's a whole nother element, too, where Rachel's kind of in like some psychological fucked up mental state because she's having all this psychological trauma of her childhood come back up where she's thinking of this older sister she had. And most folks who watch this movie, when it came out, this is who they remember. They remember Zelda, Rachel's sister, the creepy fucking chick in the bed. She looks scary. And it was her sick sister who was like a dirty secret of the family, and she fucking died while under Rachel's care while she was like 10 or 11. Like, it was real traumatic for her.
Dude, that scene where she like pops up on the bed like, dude, that will give anybody fucking nightmares. That scariest scene in the whole entire movie is that shit.
It was,
now,
man.
let me ask you, it kind of looks like a dude. Does a dude play that?
It is a dude,
That's
yes.
what I thought. Okay.
Yes, it is a dude. And back to the real fears, though, man, it's like people are afraid of losing their kids, actually.
People are afraid of losing anything that they love.
Sure. And then you have how many people out there, and this, like, I'm not going to, like, we're not going to get deep into this, but it touched on having to care for an ill person. And she mentioned, like, we wanted her dead, and that's why I feel bad. I don't feel bad because that was my sister and she was died. I felt bad because we didn't like her, you know? And it like really preyed on that. And I'm not saying there's a lot of people like that, but if anybody's ever gone through the rigors of caring for somebody like that, that's real life shit people are dealing with, dude. That's some serious issues. That's not Freddy Krueger monster. That's not Frankenstein monster. That's some there's people right now wiping a loved one's ass. There's people right now that are coping through losses. This movie is a gut punch, man. It's a real gut punch to your I'm happy that there are funny elements in it, because if not, this would be a really fucked up movie.
No, it wouldn't. It would not have done as well as it does. It's got the good balance. It takes you on a little emotional roller coaster, which those are the best kinds of movies.
And Stephen King always, with his films, the ones that he had a strong, not all of his adaptations, but these early ones, those 80s pictures, even into the 90s, where he had his hands really deep into them. He has this, he picks main actors. He has this it just has a feel to it. It feels like a fucking book. They're great Sunday movies. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just one of those comfort movies, or one of those comfort mode movies where it's, I'm gonna throw this on today because I'm having a movie day. It's very rich, man. It's a rich fucking movie. And I don't know, it was kind of like that. Storm of the Century was like that. There's quite a few pictures like that. Even Riding the Bullet, Silver Bullet. I loved all them old fucking movies. It's good stuff, man. It's just good fucking stuff, yeah. Cujo.
Mm-hmm. Did you know, I'm sure you do, but Stephen King has a cameo in this movie.
He does. He does.
And I died laughing because he looks just like the Bill guy from Office Space. You know what I'm talking about?
Lumberg?
Yeah, Bill. Yeah.
He does gotta have that fucking vibe.
He looks exactly like him in it, dude.
You know what's really funny? Because obviously Stephen King is quite open about his cocaine addiction and how much he did. But what you're gonna love, I can't wait till we do Maximum Overdrive. I'm not sure if you've seen that movie, Mark, but that's his director debut, and that was one of his first ones. That's the one where it's kind of like the Green Goblin face on the truck that's chasing the guy. Well, he has this. First off, he says he doesn't remember making it because he was so fucked up or whatever. That was the one we were discussing. But he has this cameo in the beginning, and he loves AC/DC. So he loads this movie up with AC/DC, and he's like, bro, he is fucked up looking. It's great. And it's funny to see him here in Pet Sematary, because I don't know if he was he wasn't in the throes of his addiction. It's he was comfortable. I mean, he might have been 2 grams deep, but he had developed, he was a man at that point, living his life. But now he's some just old guy. If you saw him at a live, which no, I'm not talking shit, Stephen King. I'm just saying he doesn't look like some scary fucking drug addict who's making crazy stories. This is a crazy fucking story, man. If I were to come up to you and say, Ozark, and laid out all the Pet Sematary for you, you'd be like, what the fuck, man? What are you thinking of this for? You're like, yeah, I'm gonna ride it. And you're like, what's in your brain, dude?
Cocaine.
Bro, think about all the wild stories he's had, from like Carrie to like all these ideas, and he's great with character development. And I think that's why he goes on. He makes these characters that after you close the book, after you turn off the TV, they're still alive. Like, you imagine, like, what are they doing in their life now? Yeah. They live off the screen. So I love those kind of characters. He's amazing for that, man. Funny cameo. I love all his fucking cameos, dude. He does a news reporter in Storm of the Century. Obviously in Creepshow, he's like the fucking farmer, the meteor shit. He's perfect, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. What a movie, man. I remember this growing up. This was one of the movies, like, you know, when you're young, okay? You're younger and you're with your friends, and it always comes up. A scary movie always comes up in the conversation. Have you seen this yet? Or they seen something to it. And I remember always hearing about Pet Sematary as a kid. Like, that was one of the scary movies that everybody talked about, seeing the VHS and all that. So this is quite a legendary flick here, and I enjoy watching this every time, you know?
Another cool part about Stephen King is, like, I don't care which movie you're picking. Like, if you say, like, hey, man, I like It, I don't think you're talking a specific movie or book. Like, you just like the story of It. That's fucking cool. You like Pennywise the Clown, that story.
I like the story of Pet Sematary.
Me too,
That's
man.
why I like the remake, too. Like, that's a remake that I don't mind.
I do too, man. And I'm like, honestly, I'm really honest. I don't fuck with serious pictures or movies all the time. I don't deal well with feelings like that because life's hard enough, dude. I don't want to watch some shit like where you're watching your family die or like, Grandpa died of cancer. Like, I can't watch that kind of shit because I'm a big softy with that. I can watch Art the Clown saw through your vagina down through your skull while eating dinner, no issues. You put on, I couldn't watch This Is Us. They're not collecting my human tears. I'd probably cry worse than they do, bro. Like, I'm not meant for that stuff. And this, I'm able to watch this because there's some horror in there. I'm glad that they made, when Gage came back, they made him fucking scary. And I like that he kind of did the Omen switch at the end. Because Lewis kind of has to fucking take him out with the syringe. And he's like, he's trying to fuck with his heart.
He was like,
yes. No fair.
I love that. Dude, he does a crazy... Dude, another scary part is when he's walking through the house looking for Gage, and the attic door falls down, and, you know, Rachel's there hanging or whatever. And he's just up there laughing, and then he just does, like, straight missile launch at you. Like, I don't know how I would feel.
He pulled the Chucky, dude.
Yeah, I don't know how I would feel if I had an infant demon child with a knife do a missile at me. Like, you can't prepare for that. There's no training for that. Nothing you can do.
That's that Chucky conversation. Like, oh, I'd fuck Chucky up. You're like, oh, would you? If he popped out of your clothes closet that you would not expect Chucky to be in? You just go in there to get your PJs, and he's like, fuck you, bitch!
No, okay. Look. Judd got the worst death. The worst death. Is that the Achilles heel or whatever it is on the back?
Achilles tendon, bro.
Achilles tendon. That gets cut.
All the way through.
All the way through. And
Slowly.
now, I'm not gore, so I could see somebody get stabbed in the chest, the heart, get a head cut off, feel nothing. But when somebody cuts that, you feel it in your foot. You start moving your foot around like, oh my God.
And it looks good, bro. It doesn't look fake now.
No.
It still looks great.
No. And then he gets his mouth cut from side to side.
I love that.
You ever had a paper cut? Shoo, that's 10 times worse. And then he gets his neck eaten. Like, come on.
That part made me laugh.
He's like, yeah. Imagine telling that kid, like, okay, like, how do they tell him to do that? That's what interests me. I want to see them go like, okay, so you're going to go up to the man and you're going to eat his neck. Like, how do you tell a child to do that? But
it's
he comes in like,
all right, little fella, you're going to get in there. I won't laugh this time if you don't.
have you ever bobbed for apples?
Have you seen a grown man naked?
Shut up. Don't say that. Don't ruin the image of him, you son of a bitch.
I'm going to sit here and have a smoke while you go crazy.
I've said that at least 20 times every time I go to Smoked Outlet. I am by myself in the house, and I am talking to myself as him. I'm going to go have a smoke.
You know what's your favorite movie with him?
My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We love that movie too.
We could do a whole special episode for that fucking movie. It's not a horror movie, but I'm telling you.
No. Just don't mention it. Just like this week's episode's My Cousin Vinny.
We should, man. I'm telling you. I love, dude. We could probably quote the entire movie to you, probably. What'd you say? You say use?
Utes.
God, yeah. I love him so much, man. He's the entire reason I watch this movie so much, but...
Yeah, I mean, fucking... Not only are you getting validated as Herman Munster, so... Let me explain why just briefly why that's so dope. 70s horror movies were popular, but it got popular amongst directors because it was like a real rebel time, and they're like, we can do whatever we want. If we want to paint an image, we can do whatever we want. No one could tell us what to do. The 80s... That's when the fans got real fucking heavy, and that's when we saw some of our favorite villains almost become pop icons. Freddy has a 1-900 number, like Jason's going to Manhattan, which was cool. Like, it's kind of corny to look back now, but at that time, I fucking loved it. People were like, oh, when Freddy did a song with the Fat Boys, and it's like, yeah, that was dumb, but like, it wasn't for me when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Like, I liked that. That brought me in. Well, all these people were doing those kind of movies, and that's when it got popular. But when you talk about these dudes like Vincent Price and all them old school cats, horror was not popular. People were heavy religious back then, bro. They didn't play type games. And I'm not saying Monsters was satanic, but it was not your fucking run-of-the-mill. People didn't fuck with horror like that. So to make something mainstream and popular and a household name, we might not have the movies we have today if the Munsters weren't so popular. So you have Herman Munster. That's a big deal. Everybody knows that name. Mm-hmm. You could say Herman Munster to like a teenager, and they've probably heard it. They might not know him, but
they would know what it is without ever seeing it. I guarantee they would know. You would just know some things like that.
Yeah, man. And he's got the perfect fucking head for it. That big old head, or he did.
Yeah, he does.
Sorry, Fred. Don't haunt my dreams.
I'm in your dreams now, fucker.
We'll talk about my forehead. What about those teeth?
I'm gonna fuck you in your dreams while I have a smoke.
I'm gonna make you eat broccoli, and you're never gonna get your teeth clean again. Sometimes.
I don't know.
That is better.
Let me double check this real quick, Mark, because I really.
Okay.
Well, I do want to know.
Want to know what? Oh, you want to know some things?
Well, no, I was going to tell you, we do want to know things, but he died in 93.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Uh-huh. I was thinking how long ago it was that he died because I didn't remember it. We were alive for that, but it didn't fucking stick out in my head. But the dude was born in 1926. And you know why he's a gangster?
That guy's seen all kinds of shit, like World War I, World War II, the phone.
He wasn't old enough for one. He was old enough for two.
Yeah, I know. It was a ha-ha.
You know what's crazy, though?
Fuck.
Looking at his little shit right here.
Okay.
Most times, there's a lot of actors, especially in that, like, Hollywood Golden Age era.
Yep.
A lot of those people, like, we're moving to Hollywood. That's your only chance to become fucking famous. So you'd see, like, big-time actors you'll see, like, Youngstown, Ohio is where they're from, but where'd they die? Los Angeles. Beverly Hills. California. Fred, he was born in New York, but died in Maryland. Like, he's buried in Maryland. It's like, Maryland?
Maybe they wanted some peace and quiet.
That's exactly what the motherfucker. Maybe he's close to the Pet Cemetery. It's
I feel like that's who he is in real life. Sitting on his porch, having a smoke, drinking a 6-pack of Budweisers, looking at the street in a rocking chair.
Man, before the internet, dude. I know all these parents out here, and everybody likes to bitch a little bit, and I do too, because you got to get out and interact a little bit. But let's be honest, bro. If we gave 10-year-old us a fucking iPhone, we'd love it. And at the same time, you look back, man. People would we're gonna put a couple blankets in our car and just fill our trunk full of beer, and we're just gonna go out for hours. Could you imagine convincing somebody to do that now? Like, it would sound like, are we gonna make it into a TikTok, or no? We're just gonna go do nothing. Yeah, don't get on your phone. You're not allowed. We have to talk. We have to talk. There's nothing else to do. There's nothing else. You have to interact with me. Like, there's like 60% of the population that would, like, you and I'd be fine because we could talk to people. Now, we don't always like to, but, like, I think we would speak our mind enough where we'd find the right people. But some people these days, man, they're so locked into it where it's, I don't know, man, it's funny to think that people used to just sit there and like, yep, we're just going to sit on the porch with our fucking beers and our cigarettes. People still do that, but...
Dude, that's one of my favorite things to do now. Mm-hmm. Really.
Just enjoy... I love outside, dude. I really do.
Just enjoy the evening. Mm-hmm. It's not hard.
After supper.
Don't worry about... honestly, dude, I think cell phones and shit is what's causing people all this anxiety because you're constantly looking at social media and other people's lives, and they post all these extravagant gifts. It makes you feel bad about yourself. It makes you forget to really just put it down and enjoy what you have in front of you because really, that's what you're going to enjoy most anyways, what you have right now. So
yeah, remember that, folks. People aren't always posting their downtime, so when they are, they let you know. It's for sympathy. But like, people aren't like, here's my ugly ass picture of me. Like, no one does that. So it's like you're only seeing people when they're at their best. So
here's me cleaning dirt out of my sink.
Yeah, tell us that. Ozark Mark just sent me this fucking funniest snap earlier. He sends me a snap. He's got dirt in his fucking sink. What happened, Mark? What happened, dude?
Well, I just came home from work.
This is the funniest thing.
And then I get up. It's a bi-level house. So I walk up. And I'm getting ready to put my cup in the sink, and there's just dirt. Like dishes and dirt in the same sink, just like everywhere from a plant.
Not like
I'm talking like Miracle Grow dirt.
Cups of soil.
Yes.
Cups of it.
Yeah.
Cups. A shovel full of soil.
Yeah, in the sink. In the sink. When there's a trash can 2 steps behind the sink, why are we putting ground? That's earth in the sink. That don't belong in the sink. Okay? So now... But I know that my wife, bless her heart, she's very busy. And
she's a nice lady.
She's a nice lady, and she got asked to help with her little brother and sister. So she was doing something, and then something happened to made her leave right away. She basically said that she was trying to take her plants from inside outside. Just leave them out there. And I guess something was stuck on the inside of the plant, so she was trying to take it off over the sink. Don't know why. That's your choice. I would have done trash can. But she did it over the sink. First one went well. Second one didn't go so well, and it just all fell out. And right when that happened, she got a call, and she had to go pick somebody up, so she just left it there. And it wasn't hard to clean at all.
Who's that guy? That guy's been on the internet for years. What's his name? Like Angry Vic, like the angry husband. He did that funny one where he like... his wife had the keys and it was the touch start and he's like, I have the fucking keys,
yes,
and I have to drive back.
I was taking a nice shit.
I'm telling y'all, throughout
that's my favorite video from him of all time.
Throughout the friendship Ozark and I have had, like, I've gotten random Snapchats. Just, it's fun. Like you're never like mad, but like you always just. I'm swear to God, you put some of those on TikTok. If you would have put that soil thing, I was seriously sitting down here fucking crying. And it's not good, like, it's just the way you react to it, because I feel you, bro. Like, just as like that random dad dude moment, you're like, what's going on? And you know for a fact, there's nothing, no one's going to be like, like, I fucked up and I'm on my way to fix it. That's never the situation. It's always like, well, I had, you're just like, all right, I don't care. Like, dude, you just learn not to fight things, and like your face that you give.
I know there's been a couple. There's one where I came home and the dogs like chewed one of the couch cushions and there's shit everywhere. I made one of that, and then I made another one when I came home. And when I make these are my first reactions. Like, I don't know any of this is happening. It's back when we owned a house, and I'm looking in my backyard, and she's digging a giant hole in the backyard, like ripping up the backyard, like a giant hole. I'm like, what the fuck is this? But those videos are funny. I obviously hype up the anger. Like, I'm a really easygoing kind of guy. I really don't care about that
hyperbole.
Yeah.
Hyperbole.
I don't know what that is. I failed English. Well, I got a D.
It's one of those things, Mark, where like, those times where they're like, is he serious? And you're just like, no, I'm not serious at all. Like, I don't know how to like. I can't be like touching or I'll be too emotional. Like, that's what I don't think people realize about, like, I don't want to say cold people, but they're usually the most emotional people to a sense where, like, if you really did something nice for them, they'd be very like, holy fuck, dude, thank you. Or, they would be the ones that really have your back if shit was if you were against the wall. But I swear to God, man, like, you're one of the funniest people in that kind of sense because you have that, like, you have like a cold delivery, and it's hyperbole, man, because you're not like, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, dude, are you serious? And you're like, what? I didn't know I did anything wrong. Like, Mark's kind of guy to piss somebody off and not know it. You tell him later, like, dude, why'd you piss that person off? You're like, I didn't piss him off. And you're like, dude, he was mad. You're like, oh, fuck, I didn't know. Like, like I didn't. Just because you're like, you have this freedom that I love, and it's people just don't know if we're fucking with them or not, man.
Yeah, I get it a lot.
It's because you got a serious face.
That's how I tell if I'm gonna like somebody or not. Like I fuck with the people I like. If I'm not fucking with you, I don't like you yet.
Straight up.
Straight up. So if I'm super nice to you, I probably hate you.
I know that.
At first.
What else?
I
know that. What do you know?
Times.
Do you know about me?
Yeah. Boom, welcome to the What Do You Know here. This is a segment here where we're here to tell you something that you may or may not know about this movie here. Now, if you don't know what we know, you're about to find out what we know. But if you know what we know, then we know together. Know together. Forever. Yes. Like a hot dog through a bagel, we are together. So here we go.
That's not supposed to be funny.
So, I'm going to tell you something that I may or may not know about this movie here. Okay? I'm going to go first. My fucking turn. Yeah. So, the ending of this movie here. Pet Sematary, 1989.
I like that movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. So, the ending was reshot to make it scarier. Now, when I say that...
Boo.
Now, now, when I say that, the original ending... was supposed to be Rachel comes back and finds Lewis in the house, and then that's it. It left you wondering. I hate those.
Just ended there?
Just ended there. So you don't know if her zombified came back and they had zombie sex or she killed them. You don't know what happened. So they were like, nah. Fuck this shit right here, okay? We're going to make it scarier. Yeah. So the ending comes in. She comes in, she's all zombified. One shoe, one leak oozing out of her eye.
I'd still hit.
He's playing some kind of solitaire or something. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but he gets his ass up. And then, they kiss, but she grabs for a knife, and then it looks like she's about to stab him, and he screams, and then that's the end of the movie. That's what you are used to. So they reshot it to make it scarier.
Poor guy. Poor guy.
What a fact that I just provided to you.
Wife comes back from the dead. Can't stand to see the guy alive still. Has to fucking kill him.
I know.
It's horrible.
Broads stop at nothing to ruin your life.
We're just kidding.
Yeah, I love the broads.
Yeah, I do.
What do you know about this movie here?
I know, guy. Look here. So you remember, I told you a long time ago, we were talking about a movie, It, or as you told me, Clown Nails. That's how you know the picture.
Yes.
It, Tim Curry, okay, 1990.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't really a movie, it was a miniseries, whatever. That's not important. But we know that George A. Romero almost directed that movie.
That's correct.
Obviously, George A. Romero, Night of the Living Dead, the zombie guy, the man who gave us all the zombie pictures. So, him and Stephen King were real cool. They did Creep Show together, little anthology. It's a good fucking, it's a good movie. It's a good movie. Well, this motherfucker, he bought the rights to this movie too, and he almost had a chance to make Pet Sematary. Not almost, he chose not to, because I guess it was a scheduling issue. He had other work going on. But he couldn't do this movie. But it's kind of like, motherfucker, man, you should have made one of the fucking two here. I mean, I like the Creep Show with the fucking, that had all kind of stuff. The Fluffy, the creature, all kind of stuff. It was a good fucking movie. And these guys, they don't want to come together. They can't get to bed together. How much blows it take for us to get, to get you guys together here? My brother, Paulie, Mark, we'll call him up. We can get things together. We'll get these fuckers together. I mean, we can't now. He's dead. But maybe when we're in heaven, we break these guys out a couple bumps. We can get them to make a fucking movie together. You know what I mean? We'll get them together.
You said, we can't now. He's dead. I wasn't expecting that at all.
God rest his soul.
I hate you.
It shouldn't be funny.
It shouldn't be. All right, so What else do you know about this movie? You know anything else about this movie?
I think that's the hardest fact I can deliver. I don't, that's a good fact I want you guys to savor.
Listen, you got the internet. Go look up the other stuff. We're just here to tell you. We're here to give you a good appetizer.
I tell you too, before we get out of here, I mean, it's with Pet Sematary, obviously. So we were talking about George A. Romero and Stephen King. You know, I like to watch the old talk shows like Johnny Carson. They're great. They're fun to watch. I love the way the old people talk. They sit there, smoke cigarettes.
Sure.
Well, there was another really good one that was called the Dick Cavett Show. My older listeners know what's going on, but my younger listeners, they might not know about the Dick Cavett Show. Great interviews, and Dick Cavett was a little more, I would say, almost kind of like left, to be fair. He was just more in tune with things. Well, he had a horror movie episode, okay? He had Stephen King on there. He had George A. Romero, who the fuck else he have on there? Fuck, dude. I forget who all was there, but it was a bunch of people. They were talking fucking scary pictures. It was a good time, and I throw big bones to that. But those two stole the show. George A. Romero and Steven. They were like bouncing back like ping pong. It was a great thing to watch. If you horror fans get bored, look it up. You'll fucking enjoy it. Just look up Stephen King, Dick Cavett Show. And you'll be like, thank you. This is an hour of goodness. I'll be like, you're fucking welcome. Hey.
That's pretty fucking interesting.
It is. It's fun. I like to watch all stuff like that.
That's fantastic. So now you may or may not know something about this movie. So I hope you feel good about yourself. You just had a wee no-gasm. Your brain is sensitive. Go poke it.
Wow, Ozark Mark. I feel smarter every fucking week. These people have to be getting smarter. I mean, we're going into October. These people have to know about horror movies now. I mean, we've been hanging out with those guys. They teach us stuff every week.
Those guys are very intelligent.
I don't know with everything, but they seem to know random facts about horror movies. I think they know about cards and deli meats and, all kinds of stuff. And tracksuits. That's not a big deal. Not a big deal. Fun segment time that we like to do. What is your favorite park? What's your favorite park? Yeah, do you like Yosemite?
Shut up.
What's your favorite part of this movie, Ozark?
Favorite part? I have two. Mm-hmm. There, of course, Judd scenes,
yes.
If you haven't guessed that. First one is after the funeral, and Judd comes over to comfort the family. He's going through photos, and little, what's her name?
Ellie,
sorry. I may forget a name, but I never forget a face. All right, Lily comes in. She's got a picture of Gage in a red wagon. Judd goes, oh, look at this now.
That's wow.
So she'll push it in a wagon. Bet he liked that, didn't I?
Yeah, that was a great part.
So it's that. And another one, man, I swear, it makes me laugh every time. I cannot watch this scene, no matter how many times, and not laugh. It is my absolute favorite part. It's after they bury the cat, and they go over to, I think they're at Judd's house or whatever, but they're at his round table. He's got two bears sitting there, and they're talking about what they just did. And Lewis just serious. He goes, has anybody ever buried a person there? And after he said that, Judd just goes, Christ on his cross, no. Nobody ever would. But he just jerks, the bottles fly everywhere. It's so
Why would anybody ever do that?
It's so abrupt and so goddamn funny, man. That's my absolute favorite part. What about you?
I would say, and we haven't really touched this, the Paxow character. So first off, before really things get too fucking crazy or frightening, Lewis has like an envisionment or like a dream almost, or he thinks it's a dream. He's a doctor, and there's a guy who they just cut into this guy's bleeding fucking head. There's no segue into this. Like, they literally just transition from a family scene to, like, someone's bloody head. Yeah. And everyone's like, oh, my God, get him down, everybody. It's a bunch of people trying to get this guy who's had an accident to the doctor. Lewis catches him, and the dude fucking dies. And Lewis is like, fuck, man. He tries to save him. He really does. Like, to his best ability. But the guy fucking passes away. But he, like, comes back and he's like, Lewis, and he's like, the soil in a man's heart is stonier, and he's like, what the fuck, how do you know my name, dude? Like, and the dude fucking dies. And then later, Judd's talking, and he says the soil in a man's heart is stonier. And he's like, yeah, like he starts to realize some shit's weird. Like, this is before Gage died. So he's like, dude, this is some weird shit. Well, that character, Paxal, he's like a ghost throughout the whole fucking movie, but he's like a good ghost. He's like a Sixth Sense ghost. He like hangs around. He's trying to talk to Rachel and to the daughter, like trying to fucking convince them, like, yo, don't fuck with that place.
Yeah.
Do not. I'm telling you right now, I'm a creepy ghost guy. Don't fuck with that place. And well, obviously they all do, and it's the demise of the fucking family, but he's like creepy and funny at the same time. Like, he's not a frightening element, even though the makeup work on this guy is fucking incredible. It's 1989, and the special effects, the computer effects look different to our eyes now. So some, when you watch old school, it like you could tell it's like, oh, this is cheesy, this is corny. But now there are certain ones that were done really subtle that look like, oh, that looks different. That looks different than anything my eyes used to. And that part where Lewis sees the Paxal character in the fucking door frame and he like disappears, it looks weird, man. It's like, it doesn't look, I'm not saying it doesn't look fake. It just doesn't look like anything you've ever fucking seen. And I think that's really going to happen in 20, 30 years from now. People are going to go back and watch these old ones and they'll get frightening in a way again because it's going to look so different to anything their brain is used to seeing. It's not how special effects look now.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, man. I thought the Zelda scenes were frightening too. I really liked those as well.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, like when I like step outside of my body and watch Zelda because I know that's a guy playing it, the part where like young Rachel's feeding him soup and he's like, rah, 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 it's so much funnier because you know it's a guy just doing that, like, rah, rah. You're like, hey man, look all fucked up. All right. Like, it makes it really funny. If you guys like don't want to be afraid of it, just think that that's like a 30-something-year-old man just like, like it's really fun at that point.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Mark, what segment did we make last week? Like a pretend segment. I felt like it was based on you. What was that about?
How the fuck am I supposed to know, man?
It wasn't quotes, was it?
No.
We did something that was based on you.
Oh, I think you asked me how young somebody can be to watch this movie, right?
That's exactly it, Ozark.
Yeah,
Mark,
all right.
I like that because you do give very good answers for that because I'm real fucked up. I'm like, well, you could probably let your kid watch the, I'll convince you. You got good answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pet Sematary, 1989. How young of a kid do you think could watch this?
Well, it's hard for me to say because I know that when I was young, I watched it. Young kids, when we shouldn't have watched it. Wasn't that bad.
Well, what's interesting, Mark, is you're not a parent. So, like, hypothetically, if you had a kid under your care, what age would you be like, all right, this is cool? It's like, it actually is a very validated answer because, like, with your own kids, you can go younger because you're like, all right, I could talk them through this. But, like, if you got, like, your younger siblings or, like, some kids over there, you're like, all right, what won't I ruin their night with?
Yeah, I would say 12.
That's good, man.
Because, now, you could probably go younger, but the thing in the movie that would kind of upset a younger child would be the death of the cat twice. Because it dies once, and then he has to kill the cat. And it's not like, putting an injection cat is pretty sad. So kids really take those shots deep. But I think if you're like 12, you're almost a teenager, you're trying to be cool, you're starting to realize things. I think 12 is the minimal age you would go. Now, obviously, you could go younger, but I'm talking like if you're not there.
Depends on the kid.
Depends on the kid, but if you're there, like babysitting somebody at 12, you'll be fine with 12.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I like kids that can watch rich stories, too. I love that about those, like, book movies, man. You just watch it, like, you watch Misery or something, you're like, fuck yeah, man. This is like a movie I'm watching with actors. Sometimes new age horror, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just so overrun, or any movie, I should say. I don't care if it's a comic book movie or what. It's just so overrun with imagery and scenery, which looks beautiful. It looks cool. I'm not knocking it at all. It's just...
but it doesn't compare to just actors being able to create something with just acting and not needing special effects and stuff. It's something different, and that's why those types of movies live on for a lot long of a time.
Yeah, bro, you're not kidding. I love that. I really do. I love, I mean, it sounds so corny, but I mean, I run a fucking TV show. I mean, like a TV show or a fucking audio show, depending on how you want to put it, about movies. And there's just a fucking beautiful freedom in all this. When you have actors that know what they're doing, like, I imagine Mary Lambert was just like, fuck it. You guys just do your thing. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Yeah. You guys are crushing it. Like, how much direction? I mean, you know what we did not mention? What we did not mention about Mary Lambert. So I didn't know much about her, to be honest with you, to be very forthright and forthcoming. I did not know about Mary Lambert. So I was like, who the fuck is this? Because this movie looks great. I mean, it's shot. No complaints. Doesn't look amateur. Well, it's because she's made TV shows and movies, but she's made a lot of fucking music videos. She's made, like, all of Madonna's music videos. Like, all the ones that mattered. Like, all those ones in the 80s and shit. Mm-hmm. So it's like, man, this chick's coming off of making all these fucking hot music videos for MTV and Madonna and all this shit, and then you just, like, follow up with this crazy-ass movie. Or, like, she's got it. I don't know what all she's doing nowadays, but... You do your thing, mama. You're doing it. You're crushing it. You crushed this movie. Like,
she deserves an award for this movie.
Seriously, like, it's very well shot.
Well, since we're talking about the movie, Christian, let's rate this motherfucker.
Let's get into it.
Sloppy horror rating, baby, yeah! 1, 2, 3 in the place to be. It's the sloppy horror rating. Welcome to it, ladies and gents. If this is your first time here, hello. How are you?
How are you?
Yay.
Have you been alright?
What we're going to do here is we're going to give this the sloppy horror rating system of approval. Now, what this is going to happen is Christian Ramey's going to rate the movie because I'm not a fucking horror nerd. He is. And he's very educated in the horror. So what he's going to do is he's going to rate this movie in a series of 4 categories. The categories worth 3 points. Last category is worth 1 point for a total of
10 points altogether.
Yes, and when he does this, he's going to rate it as far as a horror movie. Not a movie in general, but as far as a horror movie. So, now that you know that, sit back, relax, and let's get into the first category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is casting.
Probably its strongest category. I don't know. I don't know, but it's a 3 for sure. Everybody fits in this movie. I mean, we've been rambling on and on how well these people all work together on scene. These kids are fucking cute. I would say the worst person on screen is his daughter, but I think a lot of people miss out. I mean, we've talked about this before. Ozark. Some people aren't dramatic people. Like, if somebody was to portray Ozark Mark in a movie and they were in the movie like, I need to produce tonight, I'd be like, that's not how Mark works. That's not how Mark talks. Mark's kind of like a dry kind of guy at times. So it's like, there are characters who are dry, and then people are like, well, he's a bad actor. You're like, no, there's just people that are fucking like that. Like, I think that embodies somebody. But even with this daughter, as Ellie, I would say that, and she's a fucking kid, and she still crushes it. So everyone works, dude. There's no complaints on any of these actors or actresses. Can you clarify that, Mark? Why is it like girls can be actors, or like is it like I thought it was actress and actors? Why is that?
I don't fucking know, man.
That's a real question. Like, and I'm a film person. Like, I don't understand that. Like, am I being rude saying actress? Like, is that a rude thing? Or
I don't know if it is or not, dude. I don't go outside, or I don't talk. I don't do anything. So
okay,
I have no idea. I don't watch the news. I don't look on social. I don't know. I think they are still called actresses. I think so. Okay. I don't think that has been attacked yet, but I guarantee you in about 3 months it probably will be.
Oh, I've seen girls and it'll put actor like underneath it, and I'm like, okay, like my brain identifies what it is, but I'm always like, isn't it actress or is it like whatever you want? I don't know how that works. So if that's a rude thing I'm saying, I'm sorry.
Oh no,
I mean,
just
not really. Go fuck yourself. But
Just
like,
call
if
them
you're
whatever. It
Yeah.
don't matter. We're not politically correct here. We don't give a shit.
yeah, but not
So-
because we're mean. We're just old.
And we don't care.
Yeah,
That
we
shit
don't
is
care.
not important. All right, so that's 3 out of 10 so far here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Let's go into the next category here.
Trees. Sorry.
Let's get into the next category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. That is kills.
Wow. So there's not a lot, Mark, and there's not a lot, but there is some brutalness going on here. So if you're a horror fan and you're coming in for the kills, Pet Sematary, this will be your weakest category. It's a strong one. It's a strong one.
Just because of Judd's death.
For sure.
Judd's death is pretty much a one in itself, honestly, and the other deaths are just not strong enough to get it up there in any points.
But it's a solid one. It's not like that one is a sympathy one. Like it really. I mean, there are elements in it. You're gonna see some blood. And it's from a straight razor.
Yeah.
From a child. So it's I mean, it is kind of terrifying. And there's the Chucky element, like Mark said, where he jumps down and he's trying to get you. So I mean, there's like.
And there's a syringe. 2 kills with a syringe. You don't see that very often.
So there is a couple of ways that we're going about this, but just not super strong. Nothing that's going to. Judd's death, you'll remember. You'll remember that one, but I'm not going to say it's like enough to make it anything higher than a 1.
No, it's got a 1 because it has kills in it.
I'm glad you agree with
Basically. So that is 4 out of 10 so far here. Let's go into the last 3 point category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. That is fear.
Honestly, Mark, I've thought about this before. I really want to give this a 3 for the fact, like, your kid died. Your sister's sick. Like, this is playing on, like, real-life heartstring shit, dude. This ain't like, we're afraid of the swamp monster. Like, bro, your kid fucking got hit by a truck in front of you. Like, dude, that's just some, like... And then there's a funeral scene in this where, like, they go to Gage's funeral, and then, like, the in-laws that fucking don't like Lewis, like, the dad, like, fucking fights him, and then they knock over the casket and shit. Dude, it's a dramatic scene. It's, like, a tough, like, you're like, fuck, dude. Like, I'll fight Freddy. I'll fight Michael. Don't put me in this ever. Like, that's actually scary. Like, that's an actual, not like... I don't know. So for me, that's a 3. I'm very curious to hear your opinion, though.
It's different kinds of fear. It's not your typical kind of fear that you're going to get in the fun horror movies. This is very dramatic, very real life touching kind of fears. You know, so you have that. You have losing your child. You have losing your wife. You have a ghost haunting you. You have things coming back to life that are possessed. Very different than your normal fears, but this is very scary movie. Not terrifying. You're not going to lose sleep over it, but it will make you feel unsettled at moments.
It does change your chest a little, man.
does.
Like, even as an adult, like, obviously I'm not sitting here shaking boots down here watching it, but it does get you, like, it's like, fuck, dude, that funeral scene got me real bad. Like, I'm not like crying or anything.
Just the title, man, like Pet Sematary.
Yes.
You know, that's a very weird title.
It's
very
dude.
different.
And you know what else is cool about it? I'm not saying there aren't horror flicks out there that haven't played on the kid element, but this is a horror movie that's not fucking 3-4 hours long and artsy and pretentious. It's an hour and a half of like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, punch you right in the fucking gut. Like, you're like, oh shit, their cat died. Oh, the kid died. Oh, she died. Oh, he died. Like, you're like, fuck, the whole thing. Like, there's no good resolve. This isn't like everyone ends, we beat the monster at the end. This is a fuck you.
Yep.
This whole movie ends as a fuck you. Like, yep, I hope you like this. You remember that movie where the family fucking died? Because the dad was sad and he just wanted to keep them alive, but one killed the rest of them? Like, oh.
And then they ended up killing him.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. So that's 3 points for that category. That brings us to 7 out of 10 with 1 category left. The last category is worth 1 point, and that is, does Christian Rumi fuck with this movie?
Absolutely.
Yes, I do, Ozark. All right, cool. We got that out of the way. So that is 8 out of 10 for Pet Sematary. I think that is very appropriate.
I liked her. Yes, I do. Sorry.
Very appropriate. The sloppy horror stamp of approval for Pet Sematary. 8 out of 10, solid score.
Watch it going into October, folks. If you haven't seen it, see it. Know what you're talking about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Christian, we have just a couple minutes left here in our broadcast show.
So,
anything you want to touch on? Anything you want to say to the people before we leave this bitch?
Number 1, Ozark.
Huh?
Let's work on making a fucking segment intro for you. Even if it was quick and stupid and 10 seconds for your parental guiding. I like your parental guiding. I want you to go into it and be like, all right, there's tits, there's this, there's that. Like, because I think like you'd be very funny and like, but honestly, we've done that organically every fucking week, regardless of like making it a segment. So it deserves its segment. And like, everyone comes to me. I can't tell you the amount of people that have come to me and be like, why does Ozark say he's not a horror nerd? Because he knows way more than I do. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And then like I always fuck with them because I'll put on our old music and I'll be like, yeah, here's Ozark because he's not a horror nerd. And like I'll play every horror beat we have where you're like rapping about being Michael Myers or a killer.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, here's the thing. Ozark doesn't care about tidbit shit. He doesn't care about like year, director, this or that. Ozark could tell you a movie though. If you're like, usually if you throw like a horror flick at him, he'll be like, oh yeah, that one with this, that. Like he knows his shit, but he doesn't care about the nerdy shit. So that's
why I'm not a horror nerd, dog.
Well, that's what I clarified.
That's why I said
Ozark Mark is a big horror fan. If you were to put down movie genres, I would say it's in his top 3. I'd venture to say it's number 2, if not 1. But I just wanted to clarify for the people out there, our listeners that say like, he knows a lot more and it seems like he likes. I was like, yes, Ozark Mark loves horror movies and he's not a fucking nerd. He's not the ins and outs guy. But we need to make that segment because I love your parental guide. So let's think. We'll think of something. You deserve that, and you've got a way funnier segment with that than I do.
Okay.
Also,
anything else?
All you new listeners, everybody that's checked this out, everybody on TikTok, everybody that's supported the movement, we love you guys. We really did. Had a lot of fun out in Texas at the Frightmare weekend. Lots more conventions to be at. Make sure you guys check out the website if you guys are interested in merch. That's a big help. And yeah, man, make sure you follow us on all our platforms. If for all the people that have just listened on audio, hey, thank you. I don't care how you listen to it. But if you've only listened on audio, do yourself a favor. Put a face to the voices you listen to every week and look us up on YouTube. I tell you, too, if you guys are fucking bored, you're a fan of us on one platform. If you have accounts on the other platforms, following everything does a big help.
Shit, there's a dog. What's up, dude?
Lexi girl, go on.
Lexi girl, what are you doing? No.
Come here.
Ow, fuck. All right, I got her calm. Take us away. Get us out of here.
That's what I want you folks to do.
Fuck.
You check us out on all our platforms. It does a big help for us. And obviously, if you guys know people who dig the horror shit, you spread the message. And for all of you guys that have reached out, been here to us, I can't thank you enough. I really cannot thank you enough. So find us. We're out here. Spooky season. Like I said, 13th episode on Halloween. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. I've picked crazy-ass movies. So get ready for next Monday. I hope you guys have a good fucking week. Get spicy. Stay positive. Carve a fucking pumpkin. I'm unbuttoning my shirt.
All right, we're out of here because of that. Fuck that.